Aye. Thank you. All right, before I call the meeting to order, Trahan will not be with us tonight. It's a family matter with his mother, so he won't be joining us this evening. And hopefully everything is good with his mom and everything turns out all right. So thank you. We'll call the meeting to order. Adoption of the agenda. Mover and seconder, please.
Councilor Brazo and Deputy Mayor Royager said the draft agenda presented to council dated the 12th day of August 2025 be adopted as prepared.
Discussions on the motion. Carried. Accepting the minutes of the previous meeting, approval of council minutes, regular meeting of July 8th, 2025. Need a mover and a seconder, please.
Councilor Kelly and Councilor Brazo that the minutes of the regular council meeting July 8th, 2025 be adopted as circulated.
Discussions on the minutes. All right, motion's read. Carried. Business arising from the minutes. Let's see, nothing. Declaration of conflict of interest. If something does come up, please let us know. Thank you. Announcements and updates from council members. The only thing I have is that you probably noticed the signs coming in, construction signs. They're going to be micro paving Highway 94. So just to make it last another year or two, but they're going to be fixing the tracks at the same time. So that's why you see all the construction signs. So anyway, so it's not going to be like me and Jason kind of talk about kind of a waste of money, but it's not really. They're going to regrind it and they're going to reuse it. They're figuring about 2 years before they redo it. At least to make it last that long. And at that time too, they were looking at lanes that for the bike lanes. So we got a delegation coming up at AMO on Monday. I believe it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I think it is somewhere around there. 10:05. 10:05. We'll have the discussion. So got a letter from North Emsworth, or East North Emsworth, they also adopted the motion for us. So that's all I have for now. Anybody else? Yes.
Well, I guess we had a nice announcement and Mr. Fidelli was here and it was in the paper this week, so that was nice for the arena and the elevator. The elevator being put up, so that was nice. We had a nice gathering, so it was good.
Okay, Terry. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. Delegation of council. Don't see any. Committee reports, Public Works and Infrastructure Committee. I opened a whole bunch of stuff on my computer. All right, so we had a meeting on March, sorry. Yeah, that's not right. Last meeting. So anyway, we talked about one issue on Kyle Road. It's been basically resolved. There was no issue at this time because there's no permit at this time, correct?
For what matters?
Kyle Road, Karen McNeil.
That's
Yeah. So there's not really an issue right now because there's no building permit taken out.
Yes, there is.
There's a deal, yes. But it's between, basically at this point, it's between the neighbors. Like our staff have had a conversation with Karen McNeely.
So it's been resolved. Yeah. Perfect. Recycling concerns. We have a meeting tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock at GFL. So we'll talk about the recycling and we'll talk about the issues that we think we're going to have in other municipalities around us. And we're going to be fairly strict and basically telling them what we want, just what they want, but what is good for our community, not for what is good for down south compared to what is good for us. Any other comments as far as the recycling?
I guess I've had a couple people coming to me asking if it could be weekly because they're putting out more recycling than they are garbage. So they have to, so if that could be mentioned, that it be instead of bi-weekly,
Yeah, I think that's why they're going with the 90-gallon, I guess, 90-gallon containers instead of the small ones. But again, we will bring it up to them for sure, and we're gonna bring it up, especially for the unmaintained roads that they definitely can't go down there. So try and keep the blue boxes that we have now, is help the people out, right?
I know when Antoine spoke to them, we were the service was gonna be identical to what it was before transitioning, which is bi-weekly.
Right.
My question, Antoine, was, well, if there's a community that was doing weekly, they're getting a better service than what our residents are.
Right.
From the province, technically, right? So it may become a question of having a discussion with Circular Materials because they're the ones that manage it for the province.
Okay,
GFL's the contractor.
okay.
So I don't think GFL is the one that's able to make any changes,
Okay.
but maybe there's an option to go to Circular Materials.
Right.
You know, if we knew this was coming down in that way, we should have changed to a weekly recycling before transition and before the decisions were made. But you gotta remember, the first transition was 2021, then 2023, then 2025. So we had to make a decision what year we were gonna transition. It was like 2020 or 2019. So it's been quite some time, right?
Okay.
But it would have, like, if we would have known what we know now, we
Hmm.
had to change to weekly. But there still might be an,
Right. So are we gonna have a meeting? Like, I mean, I'm on a private road, right? And there's not a lot, you can't go down our private road with a truck because there's no turnaround. Like, will we sort of, is it up to private roads and people with long driveways to figure out where they're putting their recycling? Or will they have this discussion with GFL? Because I've had people on South Shore and they're on a hill. If they put it up on top of their hill at their driveway, it's gonna blow with the wind, right? And it's all over the place. Who cleans that up? So-
Put it back in the same place for a bit, you know. But I was told.
They're requiring 3 feet from any curb line, snowbank, car, everything as well on both sides.
Yeah,
That'd be cleared.
So that's the problem we're having, because we have all these bins showing up on. Especially, I always use Maple Lane as an idea because they got 25 homes down there.
right,
So what happens, you're gonna put 25 of those 90 gallons.
right,
I think it's not bad in the summertime, it'd be all lined up like Christmas trees.
right.
But you get in the wintertime when the plows go by, well, guess what's gonna happen? They're all gonna be damaged, they're gonna be in a ditch, and they're gonna get picked up.
Right.
So they have to come up with a better system, especially for the rural Ontario. Cities is one thing, but again, if they pick it up once every week, that'll be the same problem every week.
Yeah.
So
part of tomorrow's.
part of our discussion, so.
Right.
So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. Terry?
Yeah, I'm in the same position as you are. I'm on a private road. And yet we take all our recycling up to where the farmhouse, where the mailboxes are. The problem is the wintertime because you're putting a little box in 4 feet, it's a big stone, 4 foot, 5 foot drift. Those big boxes aren't gonna work.
Hmm.
And the thought would be if if they're committed to the large boxes, perhaps they could make a little stand, have the big boxes in, then you take your small boxes, dump them in the big box
That's.
and drive it back. Because other thing is, people that have got a small car, it's not gonna fit in the trunk.
Right.
The big box.
That's the other discussion we're gonna have. We're talking about
Okay.
that, plus
Yep.
as businesses. Businesses follow different criteria. They're on their own.
Yep.
So.
So some more questions and answers. That's
Oh, yeah, for sure. And we'll, and I know I'm not, I'm just supposed to be implemented in September, but we don't have a meeting until September. I'm hoping to get some answers tomorrow, and then we'll fire off an email and let you all know what
Okay.
part of the meeting tomorrow.
Now, are we gonna maybe adopt the bylaw? Because right now you're not supposed to put it until what, 6 the following day or the day of? So if people leave their cans out all the time, because they can't haul them back and forth.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Good idea, yeah.
So, no, that's a good idea. Bring that up also.
Okay.
All right, next one, shoulder maintenance. So we discussed that, Public Works are gonna be starting a maintenance program, shaving the shoulders. So they're on, I believe they're doing some now, so. Again, we'll keep a steady flow of doing this yearly, so this is what we discussed.
Yeah, we discussed. Now, has anyone looked at Meadow? Not that doesn't bother me a whole lot, but the bank's about 6 to 8 inch higher at the curb line. And there's now a rut down the one side that's about 6 to 8 inches deeper. So we've only,
Water from flooding your property.
because the water won't go into the ditch, so now it's tearing the road in. So I don't know if you noticed that you went up a while ago, right? And now there's people shouldn't say it, but now they're driving through it on purpose to try and spread it apart.
No, we know there was a little bit of an issue. Now hopefully we're on it.
Okay.
The other one's the railway crossing Lake Osmond. Antoine's been in contact with CN. They're waiting on their pricing right now, what it's gonna cost to get this done, because we're liable for part of it, they're liable for another part of it. They got bump signs up there now. So just to make sure to let the people know that we are on it, they are fairly bad. We also know the ones on Quakeway railway tracks, they're also an issue, but this one here is getting properly fixed. They did a patch on it, but it's, it's a lot better than what it was. Now, I look at the signs within the next 2 weeks, it'll be totally repaired. That's all I had for public. Do you have something, Nick, or anybody else have anything?
No. We've covered it.
Yes, I would have one question. We talked about when I was on there, modernization of the landfill. And are people using, when I was on, they weren't starting to use the tap. Everybody had been.
It's a mix. We're still getting cash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it growing or is it useless or is it,
I'll be honest, unless I go and look,
okay,
we're not tracking
okay,
number of, like, the volume,
okay,
but we have access to it because we get reports from Daenerys.
right,
We'll say there was X amount of transactions,
Okay.
so. Yeah, we can get the info.
no, that's fine.
I can share it in like a weekly report of how the usage.
It's not too time consuming for you people,
Yeah.
the office, is it?
Doesn't really matter. I was just wondering.
Maybe weekly or maybe by monthly or whatever. Emergency Management Program Committee. We both sit on there. My screen's gone totally wacko. For some reason I got a whole bunch of stuff that's.
Yeah, you got a lot of.
It's too much.
Yeah, I know. And I'm trying to get to where I am here. I'm gonna start disappearing some stuff here. Just bear with me, but you want to maybe start this off and I'll kick it in.
Okay,
Hand it to Kim. And she's like.
yeah, go ahead, Kim.
Just kidding.
Well, I was telling Kim to go ahead with the minutes of. Yeah, no, I can go over it. So we had a meeting on, it was July 22nd for emergency management. Let's see what some of the items were. First, we looked at our emergency plan and went through it pretty much page by page and documented what revisions need to be made. Some pages don't require revisions. So that was one part. Once the revisions are made, I believe the idea is we're gonna have a meeting and then we're gonna look at the final copy, pass it, and then send it off to council to accept. I don't believe they make changes to it at all. It's the committee itself, right? But what we have to do is we have to publicize the plan. So we publicize it on our website, minus the appendices, just because some of it's got contact information for certain people, right? Then Kim had done a bit of a discussion at that meeting about the trade show review. They spoke to, how it went and the 72-hour kits that were raffled off basically, or door prizes. Signage update. Yes, we've got our 2 road signs. I'm not sure if council's seen the road signs in the hallway. After the meeting, take a look at them, but we've got basically emergency preparedness ready signage to put up in the community, 2 signs. Public Works is gonna erect those, but take a peek on them on the way out. If you leave this store, you'll see them in the hallway. But we've got those and then
The one that's in Tanya Preston, I know they worked on it, our sign.
that's a welcome sign.
Yeah, I don't know if it's working yet or not. I know they changed the batteries in it, so I haven't had an opportunity to go at nighttime to see if they're working or not.
Then we talked about the 2025 tabletop exercise that happens annually. So now Kim's working with our CMC, Tim, and our alternate CMC, Steph Amiok, to come up with a scenario. So we're still planning that to happen in September. We don't have an exact date yet, or do we? Yes, we do. If you can pull that date. But that's an annual
It
requirement.
doesn't say it.
And we're doing it in September so that it's done in plenty of time to be able to submit all of our documentation to the ministry. so that we get a checkbox saying we're in compliance for the year 2025.
It's the next.
So,
Night of
Same day as
December.
the-
oh, okay. In the morning, I believe, yeah. So that was the meeting, basically for emergency management. Anything else to add?
No, that's it. That's, anybody have any questions? Okay. Fire and Emergency Services Committee. He's not here, but they had a fire last night over on Johnson Road. He got in there, they were in a couple hours, and fire department did a great job on the heat that was out there last night. I went to see them.
Oh,
So would have been, everybody was soaking wet for sure. Did a great job, men and women on the fire department, so hands off to them. I congratulated him last night also. Planning advisory, none at this time. Committee of adjustment, nothing at this time. Parks and Rec.
Committee of adjustments.
There is? Oh, sorry, I apologize.
just the one item. Frank figuring on Rochwood.
Lot addition.
Yes.
Doesn't
It was passed with,
issues.
no issues whatsoever.
Okay. Recreation, Parks and Rec. Who's gonna speak on that? I guess he's not here.
Right, Ken, or?
Sure.
Right. So we had a bit of,
Only because we had comments that
difficult.
someone speaks from the gallery, kind of, nobody hears it publicly, so.
Yeah, sure, I can give a couple of comments, on Councilor Hank's behalf. It was the first meeting with Steve as chair, so we spent a bit of time doing a bit of, kind of introductory. Thanks. Yeah, no. So we went over some of the past things that the committee has been working on, just to get Steve up to speed. We started talking about some of the events coming up. One of the things that we brought forward was an amendment to our boards and committees policy, just to kind of reframe the direction of the committee to be more event focused. That was something that Councilor put forward. There was some discussion about that. Some of the committee noted that there should still be an avenue to discuss cultural items. So we discussed that, and we'll be making changes to the terms of reference. They'll be brought back to the next meeting. We talked about 2026 Carnival briefly. So we spent a lot of time kind of throwing around ideas on how we can help support community events going forward, and Carnival is one of the major focuses of that. There is an element where there will be a budget increase required, and I'll leave that to Councillor Trahan to talk about at the next meeting, because I know he specifically has some ideas in mind for dollar values and what he wants to put forward. And then we also went ahead with our Volunteer and Sports Hall of Fame, which will be in camera later in this meeting.
There is a resolution, recommendation from the committee.
It is including the dollar value that I'm speaking of. I can read the resolution and
Oh, yes.
so that we defer until speak to it. That's.
Yes, I missed the resolution. Yeah, my mistake.
Read it.
The Council for the Municipality of East Ferris accepts the recommendation from the Recreation, Parks and Culture Committee to approve an event budget of $5,000 for municipal led events for the 2026 Winter Carnival, above and beyond the budget for fireworks, and that council considers a line item in future budgets, recreational. Side.
We'll put on the floor, either move or second or discuss it.
I'll move.
So Kelly? Open for discussion.
Have any discussion? The only one I have is, it's not a budget item, right? It's not in the budget for 2025.
I think why the committee's come forward right now is if we wait till budget carnival's over or very close, like we passed budget last year in February. So they were kind of looking to get some funds. If council wants to go ahead, I mean, I can find the money, but no, it wasn't in the budget.
Let's rush one behind it.
Yeah, so the context was the conversation kind of spurred when we were discussing what we've been out doing so far this summer, and specifically the tennis lessons or the free tennis clinics that we did for the kids as part of our participation funding came up. So that was something that cost us like a few $100s and had like overwhelming positive community support. So that led the committee to start saying, well, what if we had a bit of discretionary money every year that we could do little small one-off things like that outside of the scope of our, carnival, light up the park at Christmas, Canada Day, like we have these major events, but the committee wanted to have a bit of flexibility if they have an idea like that to spend small amounts of money throughout the year. And Carnival was one of the things specifically where they said maybe we can do some adjacent events, but it was more than that. It was things like the tennis event and other things like that. So that's the rationale.
So they come up with a figure of 5,000.
They will drop it, or is it just who did? You had the discussion on 5,000.
I mean, Councillor Trahan's the one that put 5,000 forward, but regardless of what the dollar value is, the idea behind it is that the committee wants some flexibility to do these small events without having to necessarily come to council every time if it's just a little bit of money here and there.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
And has said, nothing was completely set in stone, but some of the items, just so that council is aware of their ideas behind this was sort of like your old school snow festivals, right? Where there's different competitions or money for prizes, horse-drawn carriage rides, things that, cost a little bit of money here and there, but added up to sort of boost up the carnival event. I think the thought of the committee was, if I can speak on it, and I'm sorry that Councillor Trahan's not here to speak to this himself, but the thought was if council was willing to, whatever funds council was willing to provide, the committee would work within it, but they were hoping to have,
I'll back it up a little bit. The talks over the years has been that we've got, a great volunteer group. There are about 5 people that run the carnival committee. They do broom ball, they do hockey, they have live music. Everyone's aware of what they do. We've always discussed as a municipality, we don't do anything for carnival but give fireworks, which is the fire department that puts them off. So in terms of our Parks and Recreation staff or municipal staff, we're really not doing anything at carnival. We should be trying to do some programming for children that's complementary to what's already happening. So that was a bit of the discussion Greg and I have had in the past about how can we get a little bit more involved with carnival without stepping on their toes. They do their thing. Let's try to help and, make it a bit more of a 4 or 5 day event, like more to it. That's kind of where the discussion has come from. Now the committee has talked about, when I was a kid, there might be snow forts, there might be, there was all like razor ball and stuff, all of those kinds of things, but we don't do any of that at carnival. It's, if you don't do hockey or broom ball, you're out of carnival. The thoughts was to make it more of a carnival.
Inclusive for everybody who doesn't stage or whatever. Okay.
And have smaller kind of children's activities, but it takes some money. So if my advice to council would be to set, maybe a limit, either have Councillor Tran at the next meeting speak to it or set a dollar value or accept what it is. But I think on a goal forward, the community should be coming forward in the fall and saying, this is what we got planned for next calendar year in terms of programming and events. This is the money we need. And maybe part of that is there's an additional 2,500 or 5,000 sitting there for the one-offs that might come forward that, we didn't plan in the fall. But there should be some structure behind it. I mean, we've got to follow a budget, so.
Go ahead.
I can go back about 15, 20 years ago. And what we did was we had, for the children, the fire department took it on themselves to have snowshoe races. We had those long skis where there's 4 or 5 people at a time on the skis.
Yeah.
We had those races. We had making small fires in the snow, and then tea warming and so forth. We had hot chocolate, and we used the generator back in the old van. We had hot chocolate and hot dogs for anybody that came forward. And there was a lot of, and once it was like, wind chill was like 30 below, everybody had hot chocolate. But it was hot dogs and so forth, but it gave the children and families something to do as a family. They didn't, we've got a lot of new members in the municipality. They don't have any ties to the Family Feud. They don't play outlaw, but they want to come to Carnival. So give them, and I don't know whether 5,000 is accurate, but I think, quite frankly, I'd like to defer and wait till Councillor Trahan is present, but that's what we used to do. And then it just, things changed and the volunteers didn't step up and whatever. But I think if they went back to that, because we used the old ball field back in the day. And there was like a whole afternoon of activities on a Sunday afternoon before the end of Carnival. And it was well attended. I can remember easily 50 to 150 people having hot dogs and hot chocolate. You didn't have to be in the arena to do it. And it included children as young as 2 and 3 up to 15, 16 years of age. So it was inclusive as a true carnival, not just a hockey tournament for small groups. So that's going back a ways.
Go ahead, I'll speak.
Well, I'm kind of in between, right? Because when I looked at this, I'm kind of going, whenever we bring anything to council, it should be within the scope of budget, right? And so we've always said this should be discussed in budget. It's $5,000. It is a community event. And it'd be nice to have something other than that. I wonder if the committee could look at it and sort of flesh it out a little bit so that we have more information about the money there, right? Because we don't sort of write checks for $5,000 and say, go have fun with it. We usually, that's what we do, right? As council is we have a plan. So that was my idea with this, is that there'd be more of a plan. And maybe, also we're passing something and Carnival Committee, have they been brought into the discussion for this? Because they might get their nose out of joint, right? So
They've
do
been
we want?
invited to attend a future meeting.
Okay.
We haven't touched this.
Okay, so those are my thoughts when I was looking at this.
But again, if you want to go back, we go back longer than that. Randy Wood started for basically the Family Feud tournament to make funding for the municipality. Because we always had a shortfall, especially that time of the year. We never have people are gone on holidays for March break, so we started having it. So we decided, then they changed the date and they got the Carnival Committee involved. Even today, the Carnival Committee does the Carnival Committee part and the hockey tournament is run by a separate group. But there's still, it's nice to help them out. It's just that this is a kind of a really shock, but just all it's out of it. They're asking for $5,000 and we're not sure exactly how it's going to get used. I have no problem helping the sports committee. I agree with Jason said. For years, we really haven't done very much. But in the past, the sports committee at the time did not want anything from council. They were happy how they're doing it. That way they can get focused on who they want to give the money to in the municipality.
Yeah.
So that was the decision they made, because we said, well, if we're gonna put money into it, we kind of gotta do where the money's gonna go. They have the decision now where the money's going, so that money that we're gonna give into it is actually gonna go back in the community, but we want to say with folks. I think it's probably, we could pass it or just wait till Councilor Trahan's here for the next meeting, which is only first meeting in September, and get it done there.
What about this? What if you pass the resolution and agree to it on the condition that the committee flushes through some ideas, comes back on what kind of ideas or programming they're gonna do during Carnival and how they're committing the 5,000?
Can we pass it without the dollar amount and leave it open, or?
Well, that's what
There's really no decision,
Fair,
so there's no resolution in it.
No, I agree.
because it's a lot of money just to throw into the.
Well, we could put in an upset limit of $5,000 until they come back with all they want to do.
Why don't we could defer it and they have.
Yes, council can defer the resolution, send it back to committee to flush out the ideas, come forward with a plan. I think that the expectation though is that if we're sending it back to committee and they're flushing ideas and coming, it'll be given the 5, but we want more info, I think is what council's saying.
We need more information.
Because it's actually 10,000, 5,000 for the fireworks and 5,000.
So what happens, budget wise, we would put 5,000 for Parks and Recs aside, and the firework money comes from council's donation budget line. About 5,000 some dollars. But yes, our commitment would be about $10,000 to Carnival. Although the fireworks used to be Canada Day, and we moved it to Carnival
Well, it's great.
because it was a good time to have it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, again, it's great. It's a great idea. It's just that, need more information, exactly what they want to spend it on. That's what I hear from the council. Okay.
Excuse me.
Maybe if they're listening.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Brett. Thank you to the committee, and it's not a rejection of
Yeah.
of this, it's just more or less
Get the information.
organization.
Yeah.
And flush it out, right? So,
All right, board report, library board. Nothing at this time.
just if I can have a few, so, they have the kids club Monday to Thursday, 10:30 till 12, and it's being well attended, lots of fun. I brought some kids there and it was a lot of fun, and the staff are doing a great job. And they have a youth lounge. It's a drop-in Wednesday at 1:30. I think they're even expanding it to 10:30 and 1:30. And they're getting a lot of youth between 12 and 15 there. So they're liking just hanging out. So it's a neat program.
What are the numbers like?
When I was talking to them, it was 5. But they don't want much more than that anyways. It's not a big space. They just want a good group, but I could get the numbers the next time. I haven't talked to Jennifer, and it was just had started by that point. So I'm not sure. Adult paint night is coming up on Tuesday. No, I didn't write down the date. So look on Facebook. There's a adult acrylic paint night. Walking club is every Tuesday at 1:30. And there's an end of the summer bash, Thursday, August 21st, 10:30 to 12. Lots of great things happening in our little.
It's August 13th.
It's August 13th. That's it. So that's tomorrow.
4:30.
Right, I did know that.
Sold out of.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, anything else?
No, that's everything.
Perfect, thank you. OPP detachment board, none for the session. I believe meeting September September what?
I believe. That could be wrong.
Think you are wrong.
What is this?
Wow. Won't be here.
Your way.
Okay. Okay, C Castle Home DSAB Health Unit and North Bay Conservation Authority. Okay, Castle Home read minutes from May 22nd. We have a meeting tomorrow. Well, anything else comes up, I'll bring it up, but go ahead.
Have they talked about this I cannot say, advocacy group?
There's been some discussion, talk about it again.
There's not been a meeting yet.
No, there hasn't been, there hasn't been nothing brought forward yet. Can I cancel, or sorry, now you got me. Castle Home cancel statements.
These are just all FYI for council.
Yeah. Anybody have discussion on it? I know we had a couple of questions. We'll be asking those questions tomorrow. I think we'll bring that forward, Deputy Mayor. Ottawa Conservation Authority.
I have a meeting tomorrow. So lots of things going on. There was a notice in the paper that the CAO was let go. So that now we're sort of, tomorrow we'll be talking about the plans going forward with that.
Have they got somebody in place now?
No.
So who's, no intern yet or nothing?
No,
Okay.
not that I know of. So we'll have that discussion tomorrow. There's an executive committee and they have that information.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll leave it at that. Thank you. Ottawa Conservation Authority financial statements. Okay, it's for FYI discussions. Departmental reports. Nothing at this time? Notice of motions? None at this time? Bylaws?
There's three.
Great, yeah. Go ahead, Kim, your magic.
Okay, you bring our second, please. Brazo and Deputy Narrators. Whereas council for the municipality of East Ferris deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw at this session. Be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to authorize an agreement between the corporation of the municipality of East Ferris and the Royal Bank of Canada for capital project funding be read a first, second, and third time, passed at number 2025-38, and that said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation.
Just want to give us an overview, please?
Yeah, so after we passed our capital budget this year, I proceeded to meet with Royal Bank of Canada, that's our chartered bank, to get financing in place for our project. So this loan, every time you do something with RBC, they recap it in an agreement. So they speak to, just as good for information for council as well, to let you know that we've got a $1.3 million line of credit with the RBC that we rarely use. But once you do a new financing agreement, they kind of reapprove everything. So we've got 1.3 million if we ever need it on a line of credit available through RBC. Then they reviewed our initial loan for the arena roof from back in the 2021. So they reconfirmed that we've got that debt with them. It's sitting at about $322,000 is what's still owing on the original $400,000 loan. Then we got $2.1 million mortgage medical center through RBC. Now the medical center cost us about 3.3 million, but we had netted against about a 184,000 million loan, or sorry, grant money from NOHFC. So the difference is 2.1 million is a mortgage that we're going to have in place now for that. $650,000 was approved for the purchase of a new fire truck. That's 650, and I know councils in their heads got 750 for a truck, but this 650 nets the salvage value on our current fire truck that's either going to be traded in with Battle Shield that we're getting the truck through, or we're going to put it on gov deals. So we expect about a salvage value of 100 to 120. So RBC's approved new financing for that as well. Good. And then what we've got is I went to RBC we had at the last council meeting, the discussion about the arena roof costing $545,000, doing it over 2 seasons. So it's $545 plus taxes is what we're gonna have to pay for that. They've pre-approved us $500,000 for the arena roof. And I know at that time we said, well, we'll net it against any grants money that we get in. We've got to apply for the grants, we got to get the grants. If it doesn't happen, we've got pre-approval to just finance it so that we're not stuck saying, okay, what do we do with the project now? We don't have the financing in place. So the idea with going to RBC is to get all the financing in place that we needed to wrap up our capital projects. So that's what this agreement is basically with them.
Yeah, I noticed on, I guess on fair, I think it was Bay Today or the Nugget, where they talked about arena, we talked about the roof getting put on, and we got a lot of compliments, mostly from out of town, saying how good a job we're doing, keeping our arena in motion. So glad to hear that, and great work to all for making that happen.
Just to let you know as well, the 2 new loans that are part of RBC, one was at 4.37 and one was at 4.41. That's what they are. Both of them for 5-year terms. So, yeah.
Good, great job, Jason, putting that together. Thank you. Sure. So we have a mover and a seconder. Any other discussions on the motion? Not carried. Bylaw B, bylaw 2025-39, 1, 2, and 30.
And then move on a second for that one, Councillor Kelly and Councillor Flexible. Whereas council for the municipality of East Ferris deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw at this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to authorize the CAO treasurer to submit an application to Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation for financing of certain new capital projects be read a first, second, and third time, passed number 2025. That said bylaw be sealed with the seal.
Just another discussion on that also.
Yeah, so this bylaw, we're gonna send to Infrastructure Ontario. It authorizes me to apply for financing for a future Corbeil fire hall. But it also does, though, it authorizes the project to basically go ahead. So we're gonna look at trying to get, the discussion I've had with Infrastructure Ontario so far was we're gonna try to get shovels in the ground spring coming. And we wouldn't debenture till the following spring, which means it's not new debt. We don't start paying on the new debt until 2027. So over a year from now. Although if we do short-term construction financing, we pay monthly interest for any draws that we take. So the idea with it is we would normally cash flow ourselves as far as we can go. And then if I have to start drawing on funds from IO, we only pay on what we draw on. Okay. Once you're so the discussion with them, like I said, was we would try to get shovels in the ground in the spring, wrap up the project by 1 year, so the following spring, and then you debenture it. Whatever the governing rate is at that time is the rate you get. Similar to the Castle project going on right now. They're doing draws, they're paying interest monthly on the draws. And when it comes time to debenture, hopefully the market rates are great, and that's what you lock in. Because with Infrastructure Ontario, you lock in for the term. You don't renew every year. It's not a mortgage, it's a debenture. So if you get a 25-year loan and the interest rate is 3.5, it's 3.5 to 25 years. It's locked in. So that's why we go to Infrastructure Ontario for our major projects. So what this application is putting it forward to them. We build a case on why we need a new fire hall. Pretty easy case to build. What I've done right now in speaking with them, some of the concerns they've had, not on the financial side of where we sit with our financial statements, but what's going on with tariffs? Where are you sourcing the materials for a new build? How are you going to deal with tariffs or increases? So they want to make sure that when you go to them and ask for money, when the project's done, you don't say, well, we didn't have enough. We need a bigger amount, because what happens is now they got to go back to the drawing board and get all those approvals and that. So what I've done in discussions with them is I've put a $4 million upset limit as a pre-approval. What ends up happening is that gives us an opportunity to tender out the project and see what the value is. If it's much less than 4 million, because I don't expect it to be 4 million, we just debenture what we need. The max is 4 million, right? Just for council's info, we've been looking, NOHFC made an announcement that they were funding a fire hall in Carling Township for $1.8 million was the grant money. The total project was $3.8 million. So that's today's dollars. I have a bunch of figures from 2020, 2019, that like pre-pandemic, in square footage. Everything seems to go around $330 a square foot is what a cost would be. So in discussion with the fire chief at one time, the garage was about the suitable size for a fire hall. It's 9,800 square feet, so just say 10,000. Carling's was 13,000 square feet. But it's a triple bay. Seems to be the size we'd look at, although maybe 13,000 is a little bigger than we need, but we wouldn't go bigger. So the reason to go to IO now and get approval on 4 million is they do all their work. They come all, they say we're comfortable. And then now we know we've got it in place. Next step would be getting an architect, starting to look at design, and using that architect to come to construction drawings that we can release on the market and get tender, right?
The rationale behind it is basically, we know our municipality is growing. Right? And we can't get pricing, we can't go for grants. You get the new build fund. 10% of that new build fund is supposed to actually go to the municipalities, not the larger municipalities. There should be something there. And if you look at the Stats Canada, our population growth, they figure by 2034 is going to be at 7,000, we're at 5. So our municipality is growing. We've got to be ready for it too.
The problem with the grants as well is they want projects that are shovel ready. They want to know kind of what it's going to look like. What's the cost? How much, versus saying, well, we figure it's going to be about this size, this much, and that doesn't leave them too comfortable.
Yeah.
So the idea was, and council knew this, our first step was to buy land, which we did. It closed. We've got land now for a fire hall. Next step is, what does the design look like? Let's get comfortable with what that looks like, the size, what we need for our community. Then from that, we've got a little bit more information to go forward for grants. We can look at the federal level, provincial level.
Yeah.
Because it'd be nice to say, okay, we got a pre-approval on 4. We really want to spend 3 point something, but NOHFC gave us $1 million. Then you start drawing down what you really need from that loan. And when we debenture, we tell IO, well, all we need is this much. We got grant money or we found savings and that. But the next step with IO is to put the application and get going, right? They tend to now approve within 3 to 4 months. I've been told that before. It tends to usually be 6 months. But what I'm looking at is spring's not that far away, right? we've got to get working. We have to have an architect in place before we tender it. So that would be a next step as well, is to look at getting an architect and start talking designs.
Well, that was our rationale. So do you have comments?
I just think that, looking at the new growths, new buildings, and constructions we've had in the last 10 years, we're on the right track. Did the same thing with the medical building, same thing with the new offices, and exactly the same with the yard tree. So we've had experience with it, and Jason, you're doing an amazing job financing for the long term.
Oh, thanks.
Because it hasn't affected our bottom line as far as taxes. And that's what people really look at, and look at everything, the services we provide are second to no one in the area other than North Bay.
Yeah, we've staggered our loan.
Yep.
So I can tell you that next year, 2026, one of our loans matures. So it's nice that one drops off, one gets added. You got to remember, just for those council members that are not aware, we only have to budget principal and interest payments. That's all we have to budget. So for a project like this, even if shovels are in the ground in the spring, if we cash flow ourselves for most of the year, there's nothing to budget until we have to pay construction interest or, right? So that's why I say in 2027, in that budget, if we debenture April or May, that's when we have to budget now 8 months of the year for principal and interest. So that's nice as well, because we don't have to budget 12 months, we only have to do 8. So you're already phasing it in a little bit there as well. But we've always done that with our debt. Like, we don't have a lot of debt for municipality.
And we can't forget, that's fine for fire, but we also have roads. We got South Shore, you gotta get down.
Look at infrastructure, you're right.
Infrastructure, and we need funding for that too, so we can't forget that part of it.
Yep.
Any other discussion? Okay, favors read. Carrie?
Brenda Singer for the next file.
2025, yeah.
So Brenda and Deputy Mayor Ray.
I think that's why they got ladies
The
here.
most important bylaw of the night.
There you go. You saved the best to last.
This council for the municipality of East Ferris deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw at this session. Be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to appoint a municipal law enforcement officer be read a first, second, third time, passed on number 2025-40, and that said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation.
Discussions on the motion? Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Favors read. Name's with Valerie Murphy.
Yeah.
Again, thank you very much for applying to get the job. I'm sure you'll do very well for us. So,
I'm very excited.
thank you. All right, correspondence. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor. Yes, let you go first.
I'll pick the first one.
Yep.
There is a municipal council workshop conference in Sudbury, and I wouldn't mind going to that. So it's in October, and it is pertaining to governance and running municipalities and council work. So.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, Councillor Trahan also expressed interest in attending as well. We do have a resolution on the table to approve council members to attend the workshop.
Anybody else have to go?
It's only an in-person event as well.
Unless you see, if you decide later date, just let it, when's the deadline for this?
There's no deadline as of yet. It's just to save the date.
Yeah, within a few weeks, we'll get the registration information, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we need a mover and a second there, we have?
Deputy Mayor Ryder.
Sure.
And Councillor Kelly. You would like to?
I don't know yet, I'll have to find out, check my schedule.
Okay. Can we put your name down, just so that you're approved to go if?
Sure.
Is that
Put my name down as well, please. Thanks.
What is the date?
October 21st and 22nd?
In Azilda.
Whereas the 2025 Northeastern Municipal Council Workshop Conference is taking place on October 21st and 22nd in Sudbury. Be it hereby resolved that Deputy Mayor Lauren Rennickers, Councillor Stephen Trahan, Councillor Terry Kelly and Mayor Champagne be approved to attend the workshop. And further, that staff be directed to register members accordingly. So I'm just going to underline Councillor Kelly and Councillor Champagne. Just let me know closer to the date if you'd like to be registered.
Discussion on the motion. Favors read. Carried. Anything else?
Well, we'll go around the table. I think we were doing that
Yeah.
in tradition, so.
Kelly?
Oh, thank you. The 2+1, I believe we've passed resolutions in the past before. I know that there's news about the softwood lumber dispute, and Phenomen's already had a I've got a meeting with Phenom on Sunday. But there's a lot of concern, obviously, with the tariffs and all the nonsense going on south of the border. And other than that, that's about it. Thank you.
Nick?
Back on the Phenom, they're looking for support to have the Nords pilot project turn permanent. So it's basically helping with long-term projects. It's for combining or stacking additional funding. So like the Seymour Street reconstruction is one example they gave.
Yep.
So I think that's a good thing to support as a long-term option.
Good idea.
For council information, we got $128,000 a year for 5 years, so over $600,000 out of this program. So I would suggest that we really should.
Yeah.
I do have a resolution, I'd like to table that.
For council's info, we spend our money on Quakeway, 2 years worth.
Yep.
And then 3 years on group. That's where I'm at.
By Councillor Brazo and seconded by Councillor Kelly. Whereas the Northern Ontario Resource Development Support, NORDS pilot program, was introduced to help Northern Ontario municipalities address infrastructure pressures resulting from natural resource sector activities. And whereas the funding provided through the NORDS pilot was very well received by the municipal sector, as it delivered timely and much needed financial support to many communities across the north. And whereas the program has allowed municipalities such as the city of North Bay to strategically stack multi-year allocations in order to support large-scale infrastructure initiatives critical to community development and economic growth. And whereas the NORDS pilot program has clearly demonstrated its value and effectiveness in helping northern municipalities address the infrastructure challenges tied to resource development and extraction. And whereas rural and northern municipalities are also facing infrastructure degradation resulting from increasing size and frequency of agricultural machinery and activities, which is currently outside the scope of the pilot. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of East Ferris strongly urges the Government of Ontario to make the Northern Ontario Resource Development Support Program a permanent fixture of its northern municipalities. And further, that the province consider expanding program eligibility to recognize the significant impact that agricultural equipment and operations have had on municipal infrastructure, particularly in rural communities. And further, that communities be encouraged to continue utilizing the ability to stack NORDS allocations over multiple years to support the planning and delivery of major infrastructure projects. And further, that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Minister of Northern Economic Development and Growth, the Minister of Agriculture, Food and Agribusiness, the Minister of Infrastructure, the Minister of Natural Resources, our local MPP, and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario.
And discussions on the motion. Favors read. Carried. Anything else? I each have one. Well, we already talked about Sea Federation Terror for 2+1 highway enhancement. I've been doing some research the last 3 days and gotten information on our exactly how many transport travel our roads. In Northern Ontario, there's 8,900 transports around through our municipality, not our municipality, all northern municipalities per day. There's $200 million of revenue that goes through northern highways. So there's a lot of traffic and it's going to get worse before it gets better. So I'm going to be bringing that up at AMO and hopefully I get to the mic and find out what else is in the toolbox for Mr. Ford and our MTO. Find out exactly what they're going to do for us. Yep.
Phenom I've watched the video because the 201's been used extensively in Scandinavian countries successfully. And the nice part is you don't have to enlarge, you don't have to build another lane on the highway. And it's also a lot safer because rather than having dotted lines where everybody's racing to the merge, these are steel poles. So you know you've got every 5 miles, you're gonna pass them. And I'm just using that as it's not an arbitrary figure, but you know that there's a passing lane coming and you know that it's ending. Very similar to what's going on number 11 highway right now between here and North Bay. You know, you've got a 2 or 3 miles warning, right lane's gonna be closed. And sure as heck, the right lane closes. That's what the 201 does. But everybody coming at you is when you're on single, they're on double. And when they're on single, you're on double. And there's no crossovers from the single lane. Because there's a barrier. And the nice part is it's not costly. Because you're not putting, it's not like having to build a new highway, putting another lane in. So it does work.
That'll be good for the economy too. I know 2+1 helps too, like little grandpa places around northern highways. It won't be closing down. It's not like they're building a 4-lane around the city.
Right.
Which is they've done in the past, and that's basically hurt the economy, especially in Northern Ontario.
Yep.
And to have that much traffic going through, we have the same amount of traffic goes through Northern Ontario as through Southern Ontario. But they got 4 lanes, they got 5 lanes, I actually got 6 lanes.
Yes.
So it's not fair for the northern to pay for what's happening. They put so much money in the MTO, small municipalities don't get funding. So.
That's right. No, it's a win-win, I think.
And especially with this cross province stopping, they're gonna open it up, the borders.
Yeah.
Well, there's gonna be a lot more traffic.
It's gonna make for safer driving for everyone too, because how many times the highway's been closed in the last 2 or 3 years, the wintertime especially. Like around Tilden Lake and other places that are a bottleneck, so.
The only one I got is G, Mr. John Dewan, Antoine Winter and Spokesman had a knee with him, so that's been taken care of.
Oh, good. Okay.
H, elect respect. So I was down at the in Almont, municipality of Almont or the town of Almont, for the Healthy Democracy. And this was announced at that workshop. And basically with more online spaces and more ways for people to put out their point of view, there are more harsh and harassment and abuses that are happening. When I was there, and when I've talked to other municipalities, people have had their dogs threatened. They have had one mayor had to have a restraining order, right? Because, and these are in northern small communities, right? So this is not just big, this is everywhere. So this is sort of a pledge that, you know, we just want to be more respectful in our democracy. And it is really all municipalities coming together to say, we're just doing a job for the community and we deserve to be treated with respect. So it is something that is important. It is supported by AMO. And so I'd like to put that forward.
Whereas the municipality of East Ferris received a request for support from the City of St. Catharines Council calling on elected officials, organizations, and community members to support the Elect Respect campaign and sign the online pledge at www.electrespect.ca. Now therefore be it resolved that the municipality of East Ferris supports the Elect Respect pledge and commits to treat others with respect in all spaces, public, private, and online, reject and call out harassment, abuse, and personal attacks, focus debate on ideas and policies, help build supportive culture where people of all backgrounds feel safe to run for and hold office, call on relevant authorities to ensure the protection of elected officials who face abuse or threats, and model integrity and respect by holding one another to the highest standards of conduct. Further be it resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to all relevant MPs and MPPs, the Ontario Provincial Police, and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Any discussion on the motion?
So you can also, as mentioned in there, and I've done it, www.electrespect.ca, and you can sign the pledge individually. So that's something that, so.
Favors read. Carried. Thank you. Action items.
Should we do CN?
Yes, yeah.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. CN Rail Safety. CN's looking for support from the 15th to 21st of September.
We do this.
I know, that's what I mentioned earlier. We do this. So we're just gonna continue doing it, I assume, right? Okay. That's why you jumped it, I know,
Well,
because you know.
trying to all see that for 4 weeks now. They had a real safety item in the hospital.
Right.
They finally did, after we sent the threatening letter, saying that somebody would be hurt, even worse, they would get this fixed, and then the answer is.
You have a resolution.
Okay, go ahead.
By Councilor Brasno, seconded by Councilor Kelly.
Sure.
Whereas Rail Safety Week is to be held across Canada from September 15th to 21st, 2025. And whereas 261 railway crossing and trespassing incidents occurred in Canada in 2024, resulting in 68 avoidable fatalities and 58 avoidable serious injuries. And whereas educating and informing the public about rail safety, reminding the public that railway right-of-ways are private property, enhancing public awareness of the dangers associated with highway railway crossings, ensuring pedestrians and motorists are looking and listening while near railways, and obeying established traffic laws will reduce the number of avoidable fatalities and injuries caused by incidents involving trains and citizens. And whereas Operation Lifesaver is a public and private partnership whose aim is to work with the public, rail industry, governments, Indigenous communities, police services, media, and others to raise rail safety awareness. And whereas CN and Operation Lifesaver have requested City Council adopt this resolution in support of its ongoing efforts to raise awareness, save lives, and prevent injuries in communities, including East Ferris. Now therefore be it resolved that Council for the Municipality of East Ferris supports National Rail Safety Week to be held September 15th to 21st, 2025.
Any other discussion on the motion? Favors read.
Carried.
And can you just put my name on save the date and I'll let you know?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Well, correspondence and relations to the agenda.
Bring the seconder, please. Council approve the correspondence and information as circulated with the agenda of August 12th.
All in favor?
Other business, none at this time. Oh,
Approval of accounts payable.
right. Get too much orange on. Approval accounts payable. Need a mover and a seconder, please.
Council approve the general accounts for the municipality of East Ferris as indicated on the check register dated August 12th, 2025 in the amount of $967,355.55.
Discussion on the motion? Favors read. Carried. Other business? See none? Okay. In camera.
You have a resolution to proceed in camera, if I can get it over at there, please, Deputy Mayor Byers and Councillor Kelly. That this meeting proceeds to in-camera session at 6:06 p.m. Under section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001. in order to address a matter pertaining to B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. And this is for a discussion regarding volunteer appreciation nominations. And C, proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. And this is for a discussion regarding a potential land acquisition.
All in favor?